Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Soul's Conquest in Conversation with Richard. I am super excited for this conversation because we had to postpone it because of my vaccination. But here we are back in the game. And first of all, thank you so much, Richard, for joining me today. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I hope you're doing good. Everything's awesome at your end.
Yeah, I'm
Awesome.
doing great.
Thank you so much for joining us then, and let's get into it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Richard. As she has said, I am a brand designer. I've been doing that for between 5 to 6 years right now. I'm based in Africa, Nigeria. Uh, I help people, businesses get themselves known, communicate what they want to communicate, their authentic self to their customers, and for their customers to relate to them, to see them as the guide to get them to the desired state.
Could you say the last part a bit once
So,
more? Yeah, because the connection went down. So could you
okay,
just repeat the last part?
okay. I help customers, I help brands, businesses design brands, get themselves known to their customers, and help them get their customers to their desired state.
That was awesome. Why is being authentic important to you?
Uh, First reason is right now everybody is almost being fake.
Mm-hmm.
I find that being as I love being authentic myself, and I love when it's someone and the person is authentic. So in every business every project I work on with an entrepreneur or a business, I always put myself in the customer's shoes. So I'm like the customer's advocate. So I'm like, okay, if I was the customer of this business as I'm working for right now, how would I view the business? How would I create this business in such a way that I will be able to relate with the business? So authenticity is so important for relativity, for me to relate with you, for me to connect with you. You have to be authentic. I have to know your true self, your real self. So that is why I see authenticity as something very critical for businesses or brands to show out. But unfortunately, most of them don't do right now.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Um, can you share your craft? What do you create now? I know you have shared bits and pieces of this over the past few answers, but take a deeper dive into it if you are comfortable.
Okay, I should share my craft.
Yeah, what do you create?
Okay. So I create designs, specifically brand designs. I go from strategy to design. So I'm a bit all over the place, but it's more centered to businesses, from web design, UI design, um, design for marketing, collaterals, uh, flyers, business cards, strategy decks, presentations. So it's a bit wide, but basically
Mm-hmm.
it's centered into brand design.
Yeah. Could we kind of merge it together and say that you create the visual identity of a lot of brands after you do strategy for them? Would that be
Exactly. That's
something
it.
awesome? Now, why do you create these visual identities for brands? Why this in particular?
That's a good question. One thing I will have to answer to that is visual identity, like the term says, visual.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to know who you are, if I want to know who you are, basically, by seeing you, by you being memorable to me, I have to see something. So your
Mm-hmm.
visual identity basically is what makes me connect with you on a visual scale. Fine, I can feel if I meet you and purchase from you, the experience I get from you will make an impact on me. That is that connection. But for me to easily remember you or see you in the crowd and say, hey, that is that person that I bought from that the other day. Let me go to him. So it's your
Mm-hmm.
visual identity also. So visual identity covers not only your logo, like most people say, it covers a lot of things more other than your logo. So covers your even your fonts, your color, the thing you use in your visual identity, your patterns. So all those stuff basically impacts the customer and the user. So it's very important.
Awesome. Now, I have to ask you while you were saying some of these things, and this might be a bit of an unfair question, but
Okay.
if you're comfortable answering it, I want to ask you how far do you think visual identity will go in terms, because we have a lot of people who are visually impaired. So, what
Mhm.
can we as brand designers, as people working in the branding industry, what can we do to kind of make identities more accessible to these people? Is that too unfair a question? Let me know.
No, no, no. The funny thing, that is the future of
Mhm.
branding. That is
Yeah.
actually what I think branding is going into. Uh, People need to make branding more inclusive, and I've been on some kind of apps that the usage of the app shows you that this was meant for a kind of user. I'm like, okay, that is not really a good way to make the app, but basically most people will not really look at that immediately. But me, being that I'm skilled in that area, I can easily see that. But the people that would focus on that are the people that the bias is against, the people that the maker of the app didn't make for them. For
Mhm.
example, if I make an app for a particular kind of person, that
Mhm.
person will enjoy the app. The person I didn't make the app for will really see that, yeah, this app was not made for me.
Yeah.
So the future of branding it has to be inclusive. And what I like to think and tell people is branding is not just visual. All right. Branding, it goes far. Your brand identity is not just what you see, it's what you hear, what you smell, what
Mhm.
you feel. The texture of a particular clothing can represent someone's identity. The smell of someone's cuisine or someone's food or someone's meal. I'm like, okay, fine. I smell that. That has to be that person because this is the only person that cooks meals, this particular meal like this that has this kind of smell. So
Mhm.
your identity goes far beyond what you see. It goes yeah, it incorporates all your five senses:
Yeah.
touch, feel, smell, hearing, sight. So I feel that people need to make branding more inclusive, not
Mhm.
just be visual.
Mhm.
Because people that are visually impaired will have to rely on other senses for them to fully experience your business or fully experience your brand. So that's what I feel. They should actually delve deeper into other senses to really capture that branding experience.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I love the fact that you included different senses, because let's take the example of podcast. For someone who's just listening to a podcast, hearing my voice
Mhm.
can be uh, a key identifying factor that this belongs to the Soul's Conquest or something like that. This belongs to this particular brand, right? And like you said, there is a differentiating factor that this was made specifically for this particular type of person, and knowing that is important, because obviously if I flip the script on myself and say, uh, what about someone who is hearing impaired? How are they going to listen to my podcast and take in my knowledge? And so ideally we will try to do a lot of things, right? Like we'll try to create videos with captions, we will try to do a lot of things to make it inclusive. So yeah, I think making branding more inclusive makes a lot of sense, especially in the future. So I love that you are thinking about something like this. It's often kind of like just forgotten about, and we'll see it when it comes, kind of a thing, right? Like when it happens in the future, then we will deal with it. But if you have some sort of thought process already going on, that we could do something like this to make it more inclusive now rather than in the future, that makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, now, I would like to ask you, how did you start? Can you share your journey with us?
Okay, my journey. I started out as a software developer. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't start out design. So let's start from the beginning. Immediately after I finished high school,
Mm-hmm.
I started fending for myself. I picked up software development after I finished high school, and I started to get money from that. So after a while, about a year or so, because I've always had a flair for design, I said, you know what, maybe I should enter design because it's almost like second nature to me. I know how to draw, I'm
Yeah.
good with the pen, stuff like that. So I just saw it as, a no-brainer. So I was like, okay, fine, let me enter design. So I started design, doing flyers, posters, some, petty, petty newbie designer stuff.
Yeah.
I started to get work from that, earning money from that. After a while, I entered logo design as well, learned logo design, um, the rules of typography, color. I learned all that. After that, I figured out that I needed something more because I wasn't impacting people. Now, logo designs, me doing logo designs are good. I'm offering a service to people. Someone wants a face for their company, for their business. I give them a logo and they use it. Now that's good, but I needed something deeper, real problems that I needed to solve. It wasn't really, I wasn't comfortable with that. So I entered brand identity design. So after brand identity design, I started to work on basically larger scale projects, the full logo design, the brand identity, visual identity for the business. But I was still feeling that it was surface level. I was working on bigger projects than logo designs, but I wasn't feeling that deep impact, that deep problem that I want to solve because I've always had a knack for solving problems ever since I was a kid.
Mhm.
Um, ever since I was a kid, I was always solving problems. Something spoils, I would go out and there fix that thing that is spoiled.
You were
So
a
I've always
detective kind
loved to
of a thing.
fiddle. Yeah, yeah, you're actually not the first person that called me a detective. So I've always had that kind of attributes or personality. So I wanted to solve deeper problems, and then I picked up strategy. Now I had YouTube was basically my best friend. I had to learn strategy, how what it takes to learn strategy with my brand identity design, with my design knowledge. So I didn't use strategy to supersede design. I took strategy as part of the design process. I'm still a creative, but I use strategy plus design because I saw strategy as a no-brainer. It basically helps, strategy helps me know which problem to solve, and then design helps me solve that problem that I found out. So I merge the two. So that's like a summary, condensed version of my journey so far.
That's awesome. I love that you had a lot of growth. You chose different aspects of yourself and you put them all together. Having a knack for solving a problem kind of translated into doing strategy before design, and that's awesome. You kind of picked up your strengths, played to them, mixed them up, and that's why important. A
Yeah.
lot of people fail to do that because they're like, but like I want to work on my weaknesses, do that, but also play to your strengths. I think that's awesome.
Mhm.
And who were some of the people who helped you along in your journey? When you went from a software designer to a designer, brand strategist.
Uh, I was fortunate enough to have my parents with me.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of held my hand throughout that. So I was also fortunate that they were the ones that listened. So if I tell them that I'm not really feeling this, they say, okay, fine. So what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
So they basically helped me. Um, they didn't force me to do a particular thing that they wanted, and I'm grateful for them for doing that because that's what helped me really go to what I wanted, my own passion, which is design. And also YouTube, which like I said was my best friend. Then I saw a lot of channels, The Future,
Mm-hmm.
my agenda, Dansky to learn design knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Photoshop tutorials. So those are the kind of channels or knowledge that I was gaining ever since I was learning. So those are the kind of things that supported me.
That's super awesome. Now, I have seen some of your posts online, and let me tell
Yeah.
you, they are a delight to read because you have so much thought process going into whatever you're creating. Like, I think the very
Thank you.
first thing that struck me was the example that you put up, right? You were shopping, you went to shop, and you were looking at black clothes. You were basically more pulled towards the black clothes and stuff. And this, I'm I'm a sucker at telling stories. Let me tell you guys, I can write good stories. I can't speak good stories. Like, I forget a lot of details. So if I'm messing it up, please correct me. But this person who was helping you out over there just assumed that you don't like white stuff, white clothing, and then you kind of took a deeper dive because she assumed, and then you went on to explain, and that was a good conversation starter. And that was such a good thing, because when you put across those points, and I looked at those points, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. That is actually a really good conversation opener. PS, if you guys are listening to this, if you want to check out the full post with proper details, just go to the brand rich. It's much more better there than whatever I'm telling you guys right now. Uh, but it was really good, because when you put across those points, I was like, that makes a lot of sense, but the tone needs to be proper, because if you mess up the tone,
Mhm.
if you mess up the delivery of what you're saying, it can come off as rude, it can come off as you're assuming things, and that is something that any client would not like to have, because then you're just assuming things from their perspective rather than listening to their perspective. But that post struck me a lot. So I wanted to ask you, when, let's say, we'll split this into two different types of questions. I want to ask you, when you're making a post on Instagram, what do you hope to achieve before making a new post, and what do you hope people viewing it will react to it, or how do you wish they react to it?
Okay. Oh, that's a very good question, really. Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's go the full explanation route. Personally, I'm the kind of person that likes deep interpersonal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if I want to talk to you, I really want to connect with you on a deeper level. I don't just talk to you for talking sake, for the sake of talking. I don't do that. So when I create my post, I really get my mind, put my mind in the eyes of the viewer, on the eyes of the reader. What does this person want to see? And also my audience. I've already known who exactly my audience are, what they
Mm-hmm.
need, and what they're looking for really. So when they read it, I want to know what exactly they want to feel. I basically put out branding content, but I want to put out branding content in such a way that it's not something you can easily see on Google, like how to do that,
Mm-hmm.
how to do this. I mean, I can search on Google and say how to do branding for a company or something, and I can see so much
Yeah.
information. But
Yeah.
I love storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I've read books on storytelling. I've read books on psychology,
Oh,
how the
wow.
human mind works, and stuff like that. So I'm really intrigued by all those kind of learnings, and I've really put those learnings in the content that I've made, because I found out that we love stories. All of us
Mm-hmm.
love stories. I love stories.
Yeah.
So if I begin a post with a kind of story that I've faced before, or someone has faced before, or I've read an article, and I just tell you, oh, look at the article that I read, you will be more intrigued to focus on what I'm saying. And I think there was a TED talk. I recently watched a TED talk. I can't remember the TED talk right now, but the person um he told of an experience that someone carried out. It was a kind of test. The person took someone and told him something, not just like a factual information, and
Mm-hmm.
recorded the brain's process. The brain was all right with it, it was just hearing like you are hearing me currently. It was okay. But he also reversed the sentence for the person, played it to the person to hear. The brain was trying to find out, okay, I'm not really understanding what this is. But immediately he started to tell stories to the person, the brain spiked up instantly
Mm-hmm.
and really
Mm-hmm.
concentrated on what the person is saying.
Right.
So each time we tell stories, we are trying to imagine ourselves there. We are trying to really visualize subconsciously in our brains, and we tend to focus more. So the thing that I'm really intrigued by that kind of thing, I find okay, how can I merge this with my own content? How can I
Mm-hmm.
use storytelling to deliver branding messages? So I have learned, I'm still learning to fuse both of them together, because that is really impactful, and that's one of the ways that your content can deliver a good
Mm-hmm.
message. And smart brands today that use story with their messaging, with their marketing materials like Nike, Apple, Coca-Cola, all those kind of
Right.
brands that use stories. We found out that we love them because of
Mm-hmm.
what they put out, because of the way they bonded with us. And they didn't bond with us just because of telling facts. Oh yeah, we Apple doesn't tell you that, oh, we made so and so and it took us so and so hours, and the technological facts inside it.
Mm-hmm.
They tell stories for you to bond with their
Mm-hmm.
brand and their products. So that is
Right.
what I use to put in my own content. I want the person to connect
Mm-hmm.
with me
Mm-hmm.
reading the post, and after the person reads it, not only will the person like the post, like not physically like, but
Yeah.
like actually what the person is saying. But the
Mm-hmm.
information the person is getting after the post ends, I want it to impact the person way more than just listing out facts. All
Right.
right. So when the person sees it, I want the person to connect with it. And then after the post is done, after the person finished seeing the post, I want the person to really know exactly what I was talking about. So if I want to list facts, I can list facts, at the end of the post after I finish telling the story. The facts
Right.
will list, or the facts will list out the points that the story, like a summary, like for
Mm-hmm.
example, the key takeaways from the
Right.
story. This is what you will
Right.
learn. So stuff like that. So that is what I really want the viewers to see when they see my content. I'm sorry that was a bit long.
It wasn't. I loved it. Thank you so much, because
Yeah,
as a writer, I am someone who loves to share stories. Like I said right
yeah.
now, I try to impact. I try to create as many stories as possible, because I was in marketing earlier, and I
Mm,
was in the hotel industry, and a lot of ads that you see for hotel industries, you don't see them telling you about the amenities that they can get, telling you about
mm,
we have a swimming pool, or we have a golf course, or stuff like,
yeah.
you don't see a lot of those things. You see a lot of bonding, of connection. You see, if it
Uh-huh.
is a family focused hotel, you see a lot of vacation goers. You see a lot of things
Mm,
about families just spending time, which before COVID at least was something that people could only hope for, right? Like, it was like,
yeah.
okay, it was a key selling point. So marketing and storytelling went hand in hand, and I love that you're bringing stuff like that to your own personal brand, to your posts, because honestly every single post I've read of yours has some sort of story, and that prompts people to kind of comment, right? Like, that prompts people to
Mm,
connect further, and not just stop there, not just like you said, like double tap and scroll. It's more than
mm.
that. So love it. Okay, now let's jump
Thank
into.
you.
You're most welcome. Let's jump into your projects. What do you hope to
Mhm.
achieve before starting a new project? And this project can be anything, really, like your personal brand project or projects for your clients. Whichever one you want to choose, take your pick, and let's go.
Okay, so basically, each time I enter a project, I need to know the goals for that
Mm-hmm.
project.
Mm-hmm.
When will I know that this project is done? When will I know that this project has succeeded?
Mm-hmm.
Are there metrics in place? Are there things I have to look out for? Are there things that this project will bring or will do that I would know that, okay, that it has reached that mark, that I can say that it succeeds? So I need to know the goal for the project. So after I've clarified the goal for the project, I can now walk back. okay,
Mm-hmm.
what are the steps I need to do to reach
Yeah.
that goal right there?
Mm-hmm.
So that is basically my mindset on every single project I work on.
Yeah.
What exactly am I going to get? What is this thing going to do? And how do we get there? So that is my mindset.
And that is an excellent mindset, let me tell you that. I love that mindset so much because you see a lot of people just going crazy, right? You see a lot of people being personal, story time. I've seen a lot of people just jump into the project, forget all about what do they want to achieve, like you said, right? Like for you, you have a starting point, you have an end point, and then
Mhm,
you walk back, you retrace your steps, you're like, okay, what can I do to achieve these things? And that's awesome. That's quality mindset setting, mindsetting, something something along those lines. So yeah, I love that because that as a creative, it allows you, it gives you a lot of room to play around, and it also allows you to just be like, okay, now I know what my end goal looks like. I don't know what my steps are, so I'm not completely frigid. I'm
mm,
not set in my steps. Basically, you can kind of like
mhm,
take different paths, and that allows you
mhm.
to be more flexible, which is so often forgotten. Like people are so set on setting steps that they forget the end goal. And in
Mm,
that setting steps, they forget that, yo, this is not the only way to reach whatever goal you had in mind. So
yeah.
I loved your answer a lot. Yeah, I'm geeking out a bit. Now, what do you hope people viewing your project will feel like post completion?
Mm. So post completion, it's it ties to the last question. So if one of the goals I had for the project was for people to, let's say I'm working with a business and they're facing, the customers don't know who they are really. They don't have their target customers. Their target customers don't even know them, even though they have one.
Yeah.
So let's say one of the goals is for the target customers or the audience to see them, know that okay, these are these guys, this is what they have to offer, this is what they have to offer for me, this
Mm-hmm.
is the problems that they can solve for me, and I have to have since I want that problem solved, I have to meet them. So if one of the goals is for the customer to buy more from them,
Mm-hmm.
basically at the end of the project, I want the customer to buy more for the brand. So
Mm-hmm.
since that is one of the goals for the project, so what people see or what we'll see at the end of the project, every single project that I work on, is that the goal for the project is realized. For example, if I put it up a case study and I say that I worked on this project, let's say last year, this year, and these were the challenges, and then these were the goals that we realized. So basically, people have seen that, okay, the project that I've worked on has reached its goals. It has solved this particular problem that this person is facing. So each goal depends on each project,
Mm-hmm.
right? The project I work on for a business will not be the same project that I work on for myself. Will not be the same project that I work on for another person. So the person might have another goal for his own. I might have another goal for my own, for people to connect better with me. I might work on that project for a brand, and the business will want, more customers, or to for people to view them as an expert in their field, to connect with them better and stuff like that. So the goal depends on each project.
Mm-hmm. That's a good answer. But if you were to kind of boil it down to one main goal every single time you want people to feel, or one main emotion that you want people to feel every single time across any project that you're creating, what would that be? Like you said, realization, would that be the only thing, or do you have any other thoughts in mind or feelings that people, like, okay, this is Richard's post. I know it because I'm
Mhm.
feeling this, or I know it because this is what emotion kind of rises up in me. So, what would that be if you could kind of take a deep dive
I
into
think
that?
that's connection.
Mm-hmm.
connection. One thing, there are two things I love to, I said there are two things I love to keep in
Yeah.
there are two things I love to keep in mind. One is connection, and the other is communication.
Mm-hmm.
And those are two things that most people or many businesses fail to achieve: connection and communication, especially communication.
Yeah.
Because once you connect with someone, you can easily communicate with the person. Communication is not just basically the way you and I are communicating currently. It's
Yeah.
not only audio. It's
Yeah.
communication is can be with the eyes, can be with, like I said, your five senses.
Mm-hmm.
So how well do you communicate?
Yeah.
So my goal in every project is that I want the person to connect with me. And after the person connects with me or connects with the person I did the project for, I want the communication to be established between either the both of us or the person and their own core customers. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, I don't know if you can visualize with me here. Communication basically sets that foundation, and
Yeah.
connection basically sets that foundation, and communication is what rides on that foundation. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't communicate with someone without connecting with them in the first place. So I like
Yeah.
to do those. Connection comes first, and then communication comes afterward to really deepen that bond. So
Wow.
that's what I want people to feel.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that, I have a couple of questions from that. The very first being,
Yeah.
I know we'll take a couple of steps back, but you were telling me that you have a proper mindset training thing that you do every time before you start a project. That is, what do you hope to achieve and what the end
Mhm,
result looks like. You retrace back your steps. I want to
mhm.
ask you, how did you come across developing that technique for yourself?
Okay, for myself currently, or for if I want to enter a project.
So like whenever you're doing a project, you do the, like what is my end goal looking like, and then you
Yeah,
retrace the
yeah.
steps back. How, like, was that something that you did from the very beginning, or was that something that you did after some trial and error, or after some mistakes were made, or something along those lines?
Oh yeah. I didn't do that I didn't do that when I was starting out. Definitely,
Yeah.
like I said, I was all over the place when I was starting out.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have a goal in mind at all. Uh, and that's one of the reasons why I hated revisions so much. Because as designers, revisions are it's not a surprise to us. If you ask any designer
Yeah.
that has worked on several projects that have they faced revisions, they'll tell you yes, we have faced revisions. So I didn't like it earlier. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, fine. What can I do
Mm-hmm.
to curtail the several revisions that I'm getting?
Oh yeah.
Because I was getting so much, like 10, 20 revisions on it. How can you do that? So I was trying to, so I thought, okay, fine. Let me put myself in the other person's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
What is this person trying to get? If I can really know what the person is expecting, I can narrow down my path. I can narrow down the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically I was shooting wide.
Right.
I was thinking of so many things. Meanwhile, the person was just thinking of one single narrow path here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to know, okay, what I had to enter the mind of the person. So that is one of the ways of getting the goal. So I had to say, okay, fine, what do you want to get here?
Yeah.
What do you want to realize from this? What are you expecting? Is
Mm-hmm.
there anything I can show you right now that feels like something that you want,
Yeah.
feels like something that will be good for you? So I had to know that goal. So that's one of the ways I, set the goal, know the goals. I know also if there's something, if somebody wants the thing to serve a purpose, what do you want this thing to serve? Do you want it to get you more followers? Do you want it to people to connect better with you? Do you want it to get you more customers? What do you want exactly?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to set that goal. So once I
Right.
set that goal in place, either what the person wants to do,
Mm-hmm.
what the person wants to achieve, what the
Mm-hmm.
person is expecting from what I make. So
Yeah.
that's the goal I get in mind. So after I set that goal, I said, okay, fine. how can we get that? How can we, what are the steps we need to get that
Yeah.
goal?
Yeah. Awesome, Richard. I wanted to ask you, you said connection and communication is very important for you. Uh, why is it important for you as a creator? You know, that people who are viewing your project feel that connection, feel the need to communicate to strengthen the bond. Why is it important?
The first reason, which is one of the most important ones, so you won't be wasting your time. I mean, so you won't make something that people will not like. I mean, that is
Yeah.
like one of the paramount reasons.
Yeah.
But other than that, on the more human side, so that you people feel something. I mean, I don't see the sense in making something that someone sees and immediately the person scrolls up, the person forgets about it. I don't see the
Yeah.
need in that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like spending time creating something that doesn't matter. For I am the person that loves creating or working on things that I am passionate about. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
I don't really understand or feel a kind of connection with something, I don't enter the thing. I don't enter the project in the first place. I don't do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the reasons is that one of the most important reasons, other than not wasting your time, is that you want people to feel something. You want to impact people. I watched a video on the Futures channel from Blair Ends.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things he said is that people, designers, creatives are doing things that, although he was more of the pricing on the pricing side, but
Mm-hmm.
I really want to delve that deeper. I want to really talk about that deeper more than pricing. You know, he said that people are doing things that make them feel forgettable. For
Mm-hmm.
example, if you get out of the market today, if your page goes out of Instagram currently, no one sees you again. Who will be worried about you? If
Right.
not one person will be worried about you, it means that you're not getting anything right. So
Yeah.
you need to do things that will impact people, that will connect with people and communicate deeply with them. If you don't do that, your page goes out. If no one hears about you, no one will care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the honest truth. And that's what he said. No one will care. No one will notice. So you need to do things that really matter. And doing things that really matter is trying your best to connect with people and communicate better with them. Now, connecting with people doesn't mean connecting with everyone because
Mm-hmm.
not everyone will be your target audience. That's why
Yeah.
target audience has a target in it, not just audience.
Name. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the people that you want to connect with, and you also want them to connect with you, are the people that you create your content for. You create whatever it is for posts, marketing messages, whatever. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
people that you create for. You understand them, and your aim should be to communicate better with them and connect with them. So that is why I find that using those two things is very paramount. It's very important, and I think it's a no-brainer to me that we also try as creatives to do things that matter, that impact people, that connects with them and communicates better with them.
Yeah. That's that was deep. I love that answer
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, definitely going out as a promotional post on my Instagram because that was so amazing. I loved it,
Thank you.
seriously. It was so deep. Like I never thought of it running that deep, but when you said it like that, I think deep inside in our subconscious, we are all trying to do the same thing. It's just that we don't have the awareness that we're doing something like that, but if you are aware of it, it shows in your work. It shows that you I am aware why I'm doing this, right? Like, and the content is that much more richer, it's more powerful, it's more impactful. So yeah, awesome. Now, what were some of the obstacles that you faced during your journey as a creator?
Okay, one most important one was not creating a kind of position for myself, standing out basically. So I was trying to be like everyone else. And I think most people starting out, it's a kind of common struggle for most people starting out. They are trying to find that position,
Mhm.
find that name, uh, make people know them for who they are, not hide in the shadows. Because for several years, when I was on Instagram, I was using my logo, and several people have approached me and said, "Hey, man, why are you always still using your logo? We communicate, we are on video calls, we communicate with voice messages. Well, I mean, it was really personal. So they were like, why are you not using your face as your
Yeah.
Instagram profile?" So,
Hmm.
so that was one of the reasons why I shielded back. One of the problems was not really getting uh, myself out there, or rather, to better put it in a much more better way, not really creating, not communicating better myself personally. So when someone sees me or sees my page, I don't just want them to see a kind of veil that's covering me. I want someone to see, okay, this is Richard himself. Now, for some people, it's easy. For some people, it's second nature for them to be on camera. Some people, immediately you point a camera at them, they're like in full actor or actress mode. They are there, authentic. They're just there. So I was not that kind of person. So I had to really learn that. And since we're in a digital age, we can't physically connect with each other. One of the ways we can connect is basically with our faces, our
Hmm.
expressions, our human side of us. And that is what I was shielding myself from. So I had to really open that. So that was one of the challenges I had, trying to hide who I was really. Because I won't say it's knowledge. Knowledge was abundant really on the internet. I won't say it's support. Basically, I had good support. So that was really the one of the most challenging parts of my own journey, not reflecting who I was.
Yeah. And what were some of the things that help you kind of like unhide yourself and show the world that, this is who I am. This is me. This is
Yeah,
Richard. This is the person behind
yeah.
the brand Richard.
So like I said, people approach me and they were like, why, come on, why are you not showing your face? And those people are people that are very, very outspoken. They were like, let's say, Frank, good day, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
People like Diana, Bright Brashino. We've talked a lot, we've chatted a lot for a long time on Instagram. So and they're like my buddies, my close buddies on Instagram. So those kind of people, they're natural on camera. I mean, if you look at Diana's post right now or Diana's profile right now on Instagram, you see her post stories of herself. Frank
Yeah.
posts stories of himself. He's a natural of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn. I'm like, how do I be like these people?
Mm-hmm.
How do I
Yeah.
get so comfortable in front of the
Yeah.
camera like these people? So those kind of people subconsciously they encouraged me to do it because I was so motivated by their own content, and they encouraged me that what it's that's the only way that people can really connect with you as well. Danny Allen Page also on Instagram. He delivers content with his own face as well. So
Mm-hmm.
he did a story a long time ago. He was like, the truth is, nobody really cares.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, nobody really cares, honestly. If you think that, oh, you're going to feel some type of way, if you put up a story, someone will read it and they won't say, oh, look at that flaw in this guy's face. Look at that flaw in this guy's eyes. Look at that
Yeah.
flaw in this guy's personality or something.
Yeah.
Nobody really cares about that. The only
Yeah.
thing people care about is what you say. That is
Mm-hmm.
honestly the only thing people care about, what you
Yeah.
say. And what you say is really more impactful than the way you look. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to I'm still working on it, but I'm still trying to, get my personality across. So those kind of people are the ones that supported me.
That's awesome. And I thank you for your honesty, because that is something that I struggled with. Like, if you look at my profile right now versus if you would have looked at it maybe a couple of months ago, there were just carousels or there were just single posts. I rarely showed my face because I was very, very conscious. And now there are days when I just like, I'm half asleep and I'm like, this piece of content makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna post it, and I'm just like, yo, this piece of content makes a lot of sense. I hope you enjoy it, and I put it out there. And like, oh
Oh,
my god, like it's, and I had to release that chaos, because earlier, if you would have seen, no, my posts were completely structured and perfect, like two two normal posts, one story or one reel or one IGTV and etc. YZ. But I always felt, "Oh, I have so much to give, but I have created this constraints, this restraints around myself, that I have to
mm,
put up a post, only then I can put up a IGTV or a reel." And I was like,
mm,
I bound myself without realizing, and I think it's time to unleash it. And
mm.
now my profile is completely chaotic, but I wouldn't change a damn thing, because obviously, you are gonna connect better with me if you can see me, if you can hear me talk, rather than if you're just looking at the posts. They are important. It's good to have a digital identity. It's good to have crazy amazing graphics. That was
Mhm.
what invited a lot of people in on my Instagram. But now I'm just out there, I'm just sharing stuff. I'm just like, this is important, this is important,
Yeah,
you got to
yeah,
check out for this stuff. And it took a lot out of me to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's people like you guys. You guys are going out there, you guys are sharing your story and encouraging other creatives to do the same to Frank, right? I mean, that dude is hilarious. He's out there.
yeah. He's killing it. He's killing it.
He's killing it. Seriously. And I used to be like, is he not worried? Is he not freaked out? But then, after a point of time, I was like, who cares if people are just like, looking at him and going like, oh my god, his hair looks awesome, or this is flawed, or that is flawed. No one cares. Everyone cares about how you're speaking, what you're speaking. And right now, obviously, I think people connect much more better if you are being authentic and if you're being real, rather than if you're just covering yourself up under like 10 layers of protection so that no one can see the real you. People don't connect with those
Yep.
people anymore. Yeah. I mean, have you looked
Yeah.
at Gary Vee? Earlier, I used to be like, oh my god, this dude swears a lot. But eventually, I was just like, who cares if he swears? Like, look at what he's saying. That's awesome stuff. I can just
True.
block out the swearing if I don't like it, but what he's saying matters. And
Hmm.
that's what just shifted the entire perspective for me, because I was like, who cares, man? Like, obviously, there are going to be people who care for like a millisecond and they'll forget about it. It's the social
Yeah.
media world. People are constantly scrolling. If you want to create an impact, you have to be authentic. So, yeah, awesome content
True.
here. Now, as this is a spiritual podcast, I think it would be awesome to know if you have any spiritual or self care routines while you're working as well as outside of your work.
Uh, so that not, I won't call it, I won't really call it spiritual, but it's more of mindset based.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, as a creator, burnout isn't new to us.
Yeah.
Basically, all of us have suffered burnout
Yeah.
one time or the other. So
Yeah.
one thing I really try to do is prioritize myself, my own body. So rest is very important for me. My own mindset is very important for me. And I think that the things that are not physical impact you more.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's for me, because I found that the more once your mindset changes, your body basically changes. Basically, your mindset alone can give you more energy, which is one of the weirdest things, and one of the things I'm reading on that fascinates me about the human body. Our mindset alone can change the way we feel, the way we think, the way we react, our energy levels, and stuff like that. So one thing I really try to do is when apart from work, I really try to get myself an anchor. So anchor, like basically like an anchor of a ship, to really something that will serve as a structure for me or a foundation for me. Where am I currently? For example, in a week, I can say, okay, fine. What do I want to achieve this week? What can I do? What can I do? What can't I do?
Mm-hmm.
The things I can't do, I don't want to kill myself over it. It is
Mm-hmm.
what it is. If I don't get them, fine. If I get them done, that's cool. But the things I can do, I will try my full best to do them.
Mm-hmm.
But the things I can't do, if I can't do them, I won't kill myself over them. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I try as much as possible to do them when I know or I don't know that I can't do them, it will take a toll on me. So
Yeah.
one of the ways I try to anchor myself, um, prioritize rest, my own mindset, communication with other people as well is one of the things that are very important. In the digital world, we tend to lose our human side, which is very weird
Yeah.
because we are humans using the digital equipment. So why do we lose our human side? So stepping away from the computer or the phones to go outside, it's one of the important things as well. I think most people should do. And also meditation is something that it's not everybody do it, but it's vital for people who do it as well. Know where you are currently in your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody faces their challenges. Everybody has challenges, no matter how successful in quotes you think the person is.
Yeah.
But if you look back and you say, okay, if I look back to 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, where was I and
Mm-hmm.
where am I now? Sometimes even last week, you can even see
Yeah.
that, hey, I've made significant progress in my journey
Mm-hmm.
just in 1 week. So if
Yeah.
you look back and really meditate and see forward as well, to see, okay, fine, I've made a lot of progress, but I can make more progress.
Yeah.
Immediately you switch up your mindset like that in deep process, deep thinking, meditation, whatever you want to call it. I feel for me, it impacts me a lot. So apart from work, design work and stuff like that, those are the kind of things I tend to, stabilize myself
Mm-hmm.
to get myself grounded.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I thank you for bringing up burnout because, as you guys know, I'm someone who helps creatives with burnouts as a soul coach. But
Yeah.
a lot of things that you've brought up are things that I tend to focus on a lot. So thank you so much for bringing
Mhm.
that up. And I'm glad that as a as a person as well as a soul coach that you're doing some of these things, right? Like you are in constant communication with yourself. And I say this a lot: communication
Mm,
is key, especially when you're communicating with yourself,
mm,
right? Like people forget communication is key. All right, I'm gonna talk to every person on the planet but myself. But you're doing that.
mm,
Yeah, you're doing that in whatever form you would like to call it, right? Like it can be mindfulness, it can be meditation, whatever you like to call it, as long as it works for you. It's awesome.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for bringing that up. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Uh, yeah, and what is one of your soul's conquest and okay, what was one of your soul's conquest and what is shaping up to be your current soul's conquest?
Okay, so one of the things was mm, basically what I wanted. I have found out that we as humans currently we get a bit blindsided by what is in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I want to get over an obstacle currently, And I tell myself, man, if I get over this obstacle, oh my Lord, my all my problems will be solved. This obstacle is so big for me. Let me just get over this obstacle as much as I
Mm-hmm.
can. Let me give all my all, and I'll be
Mm-hmm.
set. When you get over that obstacle, I bet you there will be another obstacle in front of you.
Yeah.
So that is the way it's weird, but that is the way it is. So in front of another mountain is another bigger mountain in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So what were the things I wanted to achieve before, I have achieved them. But now I have some other bigger things I want to achieve. For example, one of the things I wanted to achieve for myself is to get myself grounded in my knowledge, in the work I do,
Mm-hmm.
in how I'm impacting people. Now I have gotten that done. I am impacting people. I am helping people, excuse me, with my own knowledge, with my own skills, with my own expertise. But I have other bigger goals I want to achieve as well. I want to maybe impact more people. I want to do things, collaborate more with other people to create better solutions for people. So,
Yeah.
that basically is a kind of transition to what I wanted before and now what I'm trying to look forward to.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I love the fact that you shared the mountain thing. It makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense because, and I connected with it because that was an advice that I gave to this other creative um who was struggling with you know putting himself on the highest standards possible and hoping
Mm,
that every single time he starts a new project he achieves those standards. He put up his
mm,
work on the biggest pedestal. He put up his
mm,
standards on the top of a high mountain when he was just starting out. And I always told him that, like that was the first thing I told him. Have a end goal, like this is the dream that I want to achieve, but don't put every project on top of that top mountain. Because if you do that, you're never gonna reach that mountain. You're always gonna be struggling to reach it, but you won't. Make
mm,
smaller, have smaller mountains that you can climb. And there are times, right? Like we don't even realize that we have climbed this huge mountain. But when we look back, we are like, oh my God, look how far I've come. I didn't know I climbed that mountain.
yeah,
Yeah. So the
yeah,
thing
that's
is,
true.
our focus changes from actually doing the work to this higher standards that we have kept ourselves on. Maybe yeah, we are going to reach that. Like it's good to have a goal in mind but not make our entire life that goal. So when you said the mountain thing, right, it just connected deep inside my mind because that is what I was trying to tell this person as well, that there are going to be so many more mountains. If you keep this as the ultimate goal, you won't realize that there's a bigger mountain that you can possibly achieve. You can
Yeah,
possibly reach up to those heights if you keep looking at this one height that you want to achieve that you can't achieve because you're so focused on, well, achieving it. But yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. Now, what is the one thing that has happened recently that has created an impact in your life?
One thing, okay. Uh Nothing has. Hmm. If I want to pick one,
Mm-hmm.
the thing is there's so many things have impacted. Basically, are the good, the bad are there, but one thing I would say I would pick from those things my sense of um, basically knowing where I am
Mm-hmm.
and who I am. It's not the physical. I mean, the physical parts are there. The experiences that I've gotten, people have the contents I bring out, the work I do. People will say, "Oh man, thank you so much. It's amazing." Blah blah. But that is not really what has impacted me the most. What has impacted me the most is the way I even see myself. So
Yeah.
me getting a full ground on who I am and where I am in my own journey. I think that's for me. I think that I would say is the biggest impact. I think that I would say is the biggest impact because I've learned not to feel focus on the physical much anymore. You know, I mean, those are good. The
Mm-hmm.
gratifications are good. Yeah, they're amazing, really, truly. But yeah, I feel that if you really close, look at it deeper, more than that, I would say that the biggest impact, that one of the biggest impacts that we can make for ourselves, are the way we see, is the way we see ourselves, physically, mentally, mindset wise. We should focus more.
Yeah,
Okay, we should
sorry.
focus more, less. We should cover less on the physical and
Mm-hmm.
more on the basically not physical things that are not physical, ourselves, other people, and the rest. So I think that's the biggest impact on me, the way I see myself, my own how I've grounded myself currently in my journey, where I've
Yeah.
been, what
Mm-hmm.
I've passed, what I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
and things I want to achieve, the things that are forward for me.
Yeah,
So
there's power in that.
yeah, yeah, I am grateful for the things I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
experienced, but I am also energetic, um, hungry for more,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, that's awesome. Love that answer. What is the one last thing that you'd like to leave my listeners with?
Okay. One last thing that I would like to leave listeners with. Um, Basically, do things that you love. Do things that you love, and most importantly as well, get paid handsomely for your knowledge. If you are a creative, if you're a creative, try not to do things that you see other people doing because you want to copy them. Now you can gain inspiration. Inspiration is vital. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
it's critical to gain inspiration because not all the time we have inspiration, but inspiration should assist our creativity, not supersede it. So do things that you want to make. Try to make an impact on people. Try to connect with them. Try to communicate with them your message. And then if you're working on a project, please do not settle for less. Try not to settle for less.
Mm-hmm.
Try not, because I is a regret I did early on. And now not everyone early on will get bigger projects, but try as much as possible to gain knowledge while enjoying what you're doing. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, really, I don't see the sense in it.
Yeah,
It's not, for me, it's not really good. So try to create what you love to impact other people as well. Make what you create impact other people. Don't just create for the creating sake of it. And just be yourself. It's simple, but it's something that we need to really take as a focus
yeah,
primarily in our lives.
that was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. I'm extremely grateful for you to do that. Seriously, thank you so much.
Thank you, Madhurima.
Thank you.